Hey, and welcome to Saturday morning. It is 10 a.m. It is Meals with Melissa, and as you can see, my college-age son, Brendan, is in the background because he's decided he wants to eat right now. So
That'd be nice.
I actually kicked everybody out, got dogs running around. You know, it's chaos at my house in the mornings. That's just how life works. But welcome to Saturday morning. Have a great option for you today. If you really struggle with having breakfast ready for yourselves when you're getting ready in the morning, thinking ahead is part of the game. Being prepared, of course, as you know, I'm a firm believer in food prep. Doesn't matter if you are just the regular person trying to reach a health goal. You know, it's really important to be prepared because you cannot be healthy by accident. It's not by chance. When you are working for a goal, there are things that you actually have to do. And one of them is prep in advance, right? It makes a huge difference. You know, sometimes I know we get into life and we might have to have a plan B or a plan C, but for the most part, you should live every day with a plan. So we're going to talk today about overnight oats. Now, I know that this is all the rage. If you go on Pinterest, there's like a gajillion different recipes, but here's the problem with a lot of them. When I look at all these ideas, because of course they look and sound amazing. And I know for most people they're like, ugh, I gotta eat oats. Well, when you're adding a bunch of sugar and honey and some things that, are super sweet, of course it's gonna be awesome. But we're gonna make a healthier version of it today because of course you can take anything to extremes. But I wanna talk about what your best options are. So the whole point of overnight oats is to, of course, make the option the night before, store it in the fridge, let it soak so that the oats are nice and soft and taste good, and then be able to just haul it with you as you go out the door. You can make a couple of them if you really want to. Sorry, I know you can hear my dogs in the background. They have no rhyme or reason. They're just everywhere. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start with I'm going to make you a basic, it's going to be almond butter and banana. But we're going to talk about all of the great options that you could add to your overnight oats for lots of different flavors because of course, it's endless. I just want to make sure that you have healthy in mind, okay? Like I said, really, really super easy to get way too much sugar. As soon as you start to add fruits and honey and maybe even maple syrup and milk, all of a sudden you're getting, some of it's natural fruit, but some of it, sugars, but some of it is some added sugar. And then all of a sudden you've got like a 60-gram sugar bomb there. So we're not going to do that today. We're actually going to make a healthier option. So we do a lot of oats in my house. As a matter of fact, if you can see my bag over there, I have like this huge, 15-pound bag of oats. We eat a lot of it. But here's your first challenge. Don't get the quick oats. You actually want the rolled oats. If you're a fan of steel cut oats, be my guest. Don't like the texture here. But we do a lot of rolled oats at my house. And so we're going to start by now, for some reason, I could not find an actual canning jar to save my life, so we're going to pretend that this cute little cup here is my little jar, but it looks like one, so we're going to use that for today. I'm actually going to add, the way that this works is you actually layer it, and we're going to start with the oats, because of course we want everything to kind of seep down into the oats and make them nice and soft. So I'm going to do just a half a cup of oats here. Okay, and of course I'm going to make a huge mess while I'm at it, because that's my job, right? My kids will come in and clean up after me, it's great. Okay, so those are going to go on the bottom. Now the next layer is going to be anything that is a little more substantial. So things like Greek yogurt, maybe if you choose to put something like flaxseed or chia seeds in there. You could also do protein powder if you want to, add some protein to your breakfast. Now I'm actually going to use protein as my liquid for today. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Just because first of all, I personally don't do dairy. My body does not like dairy. Not to mention that when we start looking at things like actual milk, it does contain lactose, which is, of course, sugar. So this is a Premier Protein Shake, which honestly, the taste of it is really decent, and you can get them, they're pre-made at Costco, and that's gonna be my liquid for today, is my protein shake, but you could also use muscle egg, and we're gonna talk about that in just a second. But I'm actually gonna layer some almond butter. Now, here's this cool thing. Even with your nut butters, you got to kind of watch the sugar content. Of course, not all peanut butter is created equal. A lot of them do contain a lot of sugar. You could also add a powdered peanut butter if that's something that you like, because of course, again, your liquids are going to seep down and make that nice and soft and make it creamy. I actually like to grind my own nut butters. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a place called Winco, which is an interesting place, depending on which town you go to it at. But you can grind your own nut butters. And so this is almond butter that has absolutely zero added sugar. And so now, again, everything that you do, I find it super important to actually measure it out. You know, one of the fun things that we like to do is kind of eyeball it. The problem is when you start looking at even healthy fats, fats are really calorie dense. There's 9 calories per gram. And so it's really easy to add way more calories than you're anticipating. So be careful that you are paying attention. You might need to actually grab out the tablespoon. Although I am just gonna grab one out because I'm actually not gonna eat this. I'm gonna save this for my husband. But I'm gonna add some almond butter to this, okay? And that's gonna be my next layer. Now, again, some of the common the ingredients for overnight oats include things like honey, which again is a natural sugar, but again, it's still sugar. It's still gonna spike insulin. Your body still treats it the same. So I kind of like to limit my sugars, especially I eat really, really clean on a regular basis. And so I probably am not gonna add that. I know some people like to add things like agave or stevia. I'm really careful at this point with any sort of adding sucralose. Okay, and I know people are texting me, but or popping up with some information, but it's really far away, so I can get like this whole thing in there, so I can't really see what people are writing, so I apologize. But again, sugars are sugars. Really, I would really be careful as to what you're adding. I know one of the other really common ingredients for overnight oats is maple syrup. Again, you're talking pure sugar. So be careful with that. Vanilla is also a good one for that, for flavor. So again, I'm gonna give you kind of a list of some really great ingredients that you can add to it. So I'm gonna put in my nut butter, okay? You could even add some nuts. You can add some fruit. Now, I'm actually gonna add banana, but I am going to do it as my topping. So I'm not gonna add it right now. I'm actually gonna add it when it's time to eat it, because of course, as you know, banana kind of gets a little grody when it starts to, hit the air and all the free radicals hit it. So I'm not gonna add that right now. But I'm going to add, like I said, you could add some Greek yogurt. I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of my protein shake here. And I am just gonna grab. Now, of course, normally I would actually use a liquid measure, but I am not gonna dig for that right now, okay? So I'm gonna use, this is just a vanilla. Now, of course, Premier comes in like 5 or 6 different flavors. It just depends on what you like. And again, you can totally change the flavor. If you like caramel, really hard to add a caramel flavor. I know that there are some recipes making it out of dates, but honestly, this is actually a pretty easy way to add like a caramel or a chocolate flavor without having to add a whole lot of extra ingredients. And it only has 1 gram of sugar per container, so at least it's a half decent option. So I'm going to dump that in there. Now, I know that this isn't super full. I would probably usually use a really small container. But then you're gonna put your lid on it and you're gonna shake it up, and then you're going to leave it overnight in the fridge. Or if you don't have that kind of time, you can actually just leave it 3 to 4 hours and it will soak, and it'll make everything nice and soft and taste good. Now, other things that are really great healthy options to add to your overnight oats are, of course, almost any kind of fruit. Like I said, in the morning I would add my topping of this. I have my almond butter already in there, so kind of an almond butter. You can use peanut butter. Again, be careful about, some of them have so much sugar in there. So got some people saying stuff, oh, I can't see who it is. It looks like Manuel says I'm looking beautiful this morning. I appreciate that, guys. You should be able to see my really cool leggings. First time I've worn them. They're super cool, but you can't see them, I know. Anyway, other options that are really great, any kind of fruits. Blueberries are awesome. We usually get the great big bags of frozen blueberries at Costco because we use a lot of them. We like berries because they're very high in fiber. So as fruits go, the fiber slows down the absorption rate of the sugars to your system. So those are always great options. Other things that you would not have thought about, of course, wrong time of year, but how about pumpkin? Canned pumpkin. You could also do grated pumpkin when it's that time of year. Now, be careful, not pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie would actually contain sugar in it already because it is flavored and seasoned to be put in a pie filling. So let's see, almonds, any sort of nuts are great options. You know, chop them up, throw them in there. Pecans, walnuts. You could even do cashews. Things to be careful of. Now, remember that nut butters and nuts, again, are a little higher in calories. Not saying that they're healthy fats. They're really great for you, but because the calories add up a little bit faster, you do need to pay attention. It's not unlimited. You could use peanuts, walnuts, almonds. Granola is another great option, but again, unless you make your own, a lot of times granola contains a lot of sugar, like depending on what they flavor it with. Even if like honey, again, honey's high in sugar, so be careful with that. And granola tends to be a little bit higher in fats as well, so you do have to pay attention. But like I said, as for fruit, anything goes. You could cut up some apples, do a little bit of cinnamon, and that would be amazing. If you like to do applesauce, try to go with the unsweetened. Same thing with your liquids. You know, you don't always have to use milk. Again, not a fan. My body doesn't like dairy, but you could use almond milk, coconut milk. I would get the unsweetened version because, again, you don't want to add all that excess sugar to it. You know, you get the fresh fruits in there, you're getting enough sweet in there as it is. And for those of you that are trying to, I have multiple friends right now doing the 21-day sugar detox. So you don't necessarily want to add any of that and kind of go backwards to what you're accomplishing with that. So keep that in mind. A couple other things, you could add some cocoa powder. You could do some chocolate chips, like maybe the cocoa nibs or the real dark chocolate, but again, be careful because those are going to contain a lot of sugar. Muscle egg. Muscle egg's a great option. If you have the ability to order that or have somebody that carries that locally, muscle egg is a flavored egg white that is triple pasteurized, so you can actually drink it like a protein shake. I know people gross out to that, but deal with it. It actually works. It comes in multiple flavors like chocolate. My favorite's like chocolate caramel. I know they just came out with a mocha flavor during the fall. They come out with a pumpkin spice. That would be a great option because, again, it's a liquid. You're going to get some extra protein in it, and you can actually drink it because, again, it's been triple pasteurized, so it's not going to hurt you like eating raw egg whites out of an actual egg. Other things that you can add, coconut, unsweetened coconut would be a great option. Think about it. You could technically make a healthier version of Almond Joy Overnight Oats, okay? You know, think about it in your head. What can I put in that it doesn't contain a lot of sugar that'll make it taste really good? So those are just some great options for that. Again, for me, when it comes to this, the biggest option or the biggest issue is just all of the ways that we could add sugar, and we just don't want to do that because unfortunately, added refined sugar can be the enemy. That is the problem, part of the major reason we have an obesity epidemic in this country. So anyhow, making this great option. Again, you could make a couple different batches, send it with your kids to school. They can eat it on the way. Well, I don't know if the bus will let them with it on, but it gives you just something that's super easy. You know, we talked a few weeks ago about breakfast burritos. It doesn't have to be boring. You just have to plan in advance and know how to make a healthier version. It's kind of my idea of eat this, not that. So hopefully that helps you guys. I will include a list of ingredients down below, so that helps you guys to kind of pick and choose. And of course, if you're a fan of Pinterest like I am, you can hop on there and you're going to be overwhelmed by all the options. But just, you know, do some common sense reading and figure out what works, what's probably a little too much sugar, and see if you can't make something that works great for you. So have an incredible weekend, you guys, and we will see you next Saturday. Bye for now.